Good evening. The first formal meeting between the presidents of the United States and Cuba in over half a century has taken place. Barack Obama and Raul Castro sat down for face-to-face talks in a historic encounter that's likely to pave the way for a new era in relations between the two countries. President Obama said the US was ready to turn the page with Cuba, while President Castro said his country was willing to discuss everything. From Panama City, here's our North America editor, John Sopel. His report contains flash photography.
The moment was fleeting, but it's taken more than half a century to get here. A formal handshake signifying an attempt to move on from the enduring Cold War hostility between Cuba and America. At the Americas Summit, Barack Obama said this was an historic moment.
The United States will not be imprisoned by the past. We're looking to the future and to policies that improve the lives of the Cuban people and advance the interests of cooperation in the hemisphere. Now, this shift in U.S. policy represents a turning point for our entire region.
For his part, Raul Castro launched a familiar and long tirade against Yankee imperialism in the region. But then something very unfamiliar.
Y pienso que su forma de ser obedece a ese origen humilde de él.
He lavished praise on President Obama, saying he was an honest man and that what had happened before was not his fault. What had gone before was a series of calamitous missteps on both sides. After the last official meeting, when Fidel Castro met then Vice President Nixon in 1960, came the Bay of Pigs fiasco, an ill-fated attempt by CIA-backed rebels to overthrow the regime. And then, most dangerous of all, the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the world came to the brink of nuclear war over the sighting of Soviet ballistic missiles near Havana. Since then, relations have been icy cold. This regional conference of Latin American leaders doesn't normally attract that much attention, but this year is different. It has become the Castro and Obama show. Important for Cuba and America, yes, but important too for the rest of Latin America.
This is obviously a historic meeting.
And at the end of this summit, the two men have sat down for detailed talks, a picture that would have been simply unthinkable even a year ago. There is still a long way to go, but the direction of travel is clear. Cuban-American relations are warming up, finally.
And John joins me now from the Summit of the Americas. John, what are the next steps?
Well, I think the first thing is that we'll see Cuba's name taken off America's state sponsor of terrorism list. Why does that matter? Well, once that happens, then diplomatic relations can be restored between the two countries. That might happen quite quickly. The key thing, of course, though, is the trade embargo, and that could take a little longer because that needs congressional approval. President Obama can't just wish that. You know, if you talk to people involved in getting political agreements, they say you don't only need policy agreement, you need the stars to be in alignment. And in this, it seems to be the case. President Castro desperately needs investment now that the Venezuelan economy is in freefall. President Obama, in his final kind of year and a half in office, wants to do something that will leave a long-lasting legacy. It does seem that this ship is sailing in the right direction, and both men recognize that they need to be patient along the way.
John, thank you very much. John Sopel there.